Good afternoon, scholars. Welcome to your April 9th, 7th grade Vista Virtual Lit class. Let's get into it. We saw a little bit of a bump in our turn-in rate from 36 to 40%. That's not a bad thing, so good job. It's maybe one extra student, so way to get your work turned in. I think that was Lizbeth. Lizbeth, who I'm going to come back to in a second. Actually, I'm gonna do that right now. My student spotlight for today is Lizbeth. Lizbeth, it's clear she is putting her very, very best effort and thought into the work. Her answers on this assignment, they weren't perfect, but she's writing in complete sentences. Her answers are most of the way there, and I can just tell that she's really taking her time. We can even see, guys, how much time is spent with you watching a video, or how much time you spend with the Google Docs open. Elizabeth spent a lot of time on this, and you can tell because of how thoughtful her answers were. I can't say this name for most other students. Just to kind of call it like it is, a lot of you guys are putting in like such minimal effort that when your work is graded, it looks like you are really low achieving and accomplishing, when I know that's not the case, because I know for all of you, when you do your best, it's impressive and it's good work. The work that's being turned in right now is just kind of sad, and that's not going to benefit anybody, especially you. So I want to shout out Lizbeth for how much effort she's putting into her work. In this first one, Lizbeth, really good job naming why the man hit him and beat him, because you said he's trying to, so that Buck understands to do what the man with the club says. Exactly. What you missed is the second part, when the man then gives him water and food from his own hand. Why? Why the switch up, right? I'll show my exemplar in a second here. Who buys Buck? Yes, he's bought by Perrault and Francois, and he's going to be a mail runner. Yes, and he's sold for $300. Great. Way to name who bought him, what he's going to be used for, and even how much. Great answer. How many other dogs are on Buck now? Yes, there are. This one was tricky because it names two of them. It names Dave and it names Curly. The other dog, it just says they're from. It says where they're from. Um, but this third dog, guys, is the one who steals Buck's food and then gets reprimanded for it. So there are three dogs. Okay. Um, I'll get into my exemplar in a second. Elizabeth, I think you got a little bit tripped up on the fourth question. It says, "What does he experience for the first time in the chapter's last paragraph?" You wrote that he experienced that lesson. Yes, earlier he learned the lesson that man is in charge. In the very last paragraph, he experiences snow for the first time. He doesn't know what he's stepping in. He's trying to bite it, and it's disappearing in his mouth. And everyone's laughing at him. Quote, "A man with a club was a lawgiver, a master to be obeyed, though not necessarily conciliated. Of this last, Buck was never guilty." What does that mean in our own words? C is the correct answer. Though Buck knew he must obey his master, he did not do so willingly. You know, if you weren't holding that club, you won't be in charge. But since you are, I'm gonna do what you say. Let me pull up my exemplar here. Sorry, I should have had this ready to go. I thought I had it. I closed the window on accident. While I pull up my exemplar, I want you guys to pause the video. I want you to pull up your own answers to compare yours to mine, okay? To make sure that we're watching this video, guys, today's password is Buck. Today's password is Buck, okay? That's going to be the first question on your exit ticket. I want to see who's reading these readings, so I'm going to throw in the day's password at different points in my video to make sure that you guys are watching it, because I think that's also one of the reasons why our work is so kind of lacking and unimpressive, is because we're not taking the time to watch the video to get the framing and guidance that we need um, for that day's lesson. All right, so I'm going to go over the exemplar answers to yesterday's exit ticket. So compare mine to yours. If you need to change, minimize this screen so it's taking up half your computer screen, pull your answers up next to it. Please do so that you can compare not so great work to great work, so you can pick up on some what the correct answers are, but also how to fully explain your thinking and in detail. So I said the man in the red sweater is trying to break. Number one asked, what do those two quotes reveal about what the man in the red sweater was seeking to accomplish with Buck? The first quote is, him knocking Buck utterly senseless. The other one is him giving him watering and feeding him raw meat, chunk by chunk, from the man's hand. I said, the man in the red sweater is trying to break Buck's stubborn and rebellious spirit so that he's more obedient to man. He beats him into submission with the club to show Buck that humans are in charge, and fighting that fact will only get him hurt. But then he gives him water and feeds Buck by hand to build trust and respect. Now that Buck is no longer fighting, he rewards him. He's trying to teach Buck that he will be taken care of as long as he is obedient to man. Number two, describing Buck's sale, who buys him and for how much. I need to steal part of Lisbeth. I didn't name exactly what he'd be doing, but I said the man in the red sweater sells Buck to a man named Perrault. Perrault works for the Canadian government. As Lisbeth said earlier, he works for the Canadian government delivering mail, right? He pays $300, which is a lot, but both Perrault and the man in the red sweater know this is a great deal for a dog as big and strong as Buck. Because Perrault was very impressed when he saw Buck. How many dogs surround Buck now? What is each of them like? Buck is with three other dogs. Curly is a Newfoundland. If you guys don't know what a Newfoundland is, it looks like Newfoundland. It's pronounced Newfoundland. Google that breed right now so you can see it's a big dog. Curly is a Newfoundland who was also sold to Perrault by the man in the red sweater. Another dog whose name we don't know is Sneaky. He stole Buck's food the first meal. The third dog's name is Dave. Dave mainly keeps to himself and doesn't seem to be interested in anything or anyone. And finally, for number four, what does Buck experience for the first time? Buck experiences snow for the first time. He has no idea what it is. Men were laughing at him as he ran around and tried to bite it. See how I just take that extra sentence or two just to fully describe something? I'm not taking shortcuts. I'm taking the time to really explain myself. Okay, develop that habit, guys. Right? We got these bad habits of doing as little as possible and hoping we get credit for it. You got to flip that on its head. I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go over and beyond what I think is expected because I want to make sure that I'm doing my best and I'm fully explaining myself. Okay. All right, let's look at today's assignment. Today's assignment is on an article called The Pack Mentality. Again, today's password is Buck, so actually just go ahead and type that in right there. That's an easy point. Okay, what are we reading for? Before I read this article, I'm going to read what am I reading for? The first question is a 4 points, so there's the focus question of the day. Why is the alpha important? Provide at least 3 reasons. This is not an ASAC response, guys. You do not have to do evidence analysis. This is more explanatory. The answer is right there. You need to explain it. Make sure while you explain it, you're mostly using your own words, but you're working in some of the key words from the text too, to show that you're explaining it, but you're not making it up because boom, here are some words from the text mixed right in with mine to show you that I know what I'm talking about. I understood the text, okay? Number 3, what are some benefits of being the alpha and what is a risk? And then you have a multiple choice about which of these statements would best would be most important to include in the summary of the article. All right. So let's check out the article. I'll do the first paragraph with you. You should have a sheet of paper to take notes. This is a nonfiction article, just like the ones that we practice with the AZ Merit. So you should be taking notes on the key points each paragraph as you go. So if you don't have something to write with, pause the video and go get that now. All right, let's get into it. The pack mentality. So first, I'm going to write the focus question at the top of my notes so I know what I'm reading for. Why is alpha so important? Why is alpha important? And if you don't know what an alpha is, you're going to find out in a second. All right, paragraph one. Paragraph one. Pack mentality. A dog is defined by his or her status in the pack. Status determines when he eats, works, plays, and sleeps. When the pack is stable, the dogs act almost as one, each fulfilling its role for the survival of the whole. This stability is achieved when a strong, confident dog is in the lead, the alpha dog. All right, so some key facts I got there was that status determines eat, work, play, sleep. Status. Next, it talked about what happens when it's stable, right? Stable equals, it says the pack acting as one. So I'll say teamwork, right? When it's stable, there's teamwork, right? Everyone doing their own role. That's teamwork. And then the last sentence is said, actually, I'll say teamwork / survival because everyone's doing their part. Last sentence said this stability can only be achieved when a strong, confident dog is in the lead. Alpha. Okay. So stability needs alpha. Alpha equals strong, confident leader. All right. So if I look back at the question, I'm not done reading yet, but if I do look back at the questions, why is the alpha important? Provide at least 3 reasons. I can start to build my response over here by the question. I think I found my first reason. The first reason it talked about in this first paragraph was pack stability, right? Pack stability. And that was in paragraph 1. So I know that when I need to pull some specific facts, some of the more important words I'm going to work in, I'm going to find that in paragraph 1. All right. Continue taking notes, guys, on each paragraph. And as you find different reasons for that are going to go to help you answer the question of why the alpha is important, plan it out up here. What's the reason you found, and what paragraph are you going to refer to when you need to get some more details, or if you need to just to double check. All right. Let's do our very best on this article, you guys only have 2 classes a day. You've got your lit exit ticket. This reading is this reading is 5 paragraphs long, guys. So I've assigned you 5 paragraphs, a pretty straightforward summary that you need to write with some other detailed questions, and you got your 30 minutes on Lexia, and then you've got your math lesson. All right, that's about maybe 2 hours of work if you compare that to how much you'd be working in a normal school day. So make sure that you're really doing your best in these assignments, or you're getting your most out of just these 2 classes, because again, the requirements of high school, college, and beyond are still right there, and they're still waiting for you, and they're still not going to change, right? The ACT that you're going to have to, that you're preparing for, the SAT that you're preparing for right now, it's not going to get easier because, oh, you missed a couple months of school during the coronavirus thing. The expectations are staying the same, right? So if you're dropping off, you're putting yourself behind, because there's a whole lot of kids who are still working and still reading and still, going to virtual schools at this time, kids from, you know, other schools throughout the country and states. So make sure that you're doing the same, and you're not falling behind from others, and you're also not letting yourself down, because that's what you're doing when you don't do your very best work. So let's turn in our best work, and I hope tomorrow I have more people to shout out than really on today's lesson, just Catherine and Lizbeth, right? I want to have a whole list of students who deserve shout outs because of how thoughtful and complete their thinking and their writing was. All right. So step it up, and I will see you guys tomorrow.